Did President Eisenhower meet with aliens in the 1950s, and are they the same aliens encountered by a police officer in the 1960s? This is a fascinating story. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and please comment below as I'm going through the story. Oh, and please consider becoming a channel member to support the channel, allowing me to make these videos as good as I can make them, as good as you deserve. See the first line in the description below. Okay, going on with the story, there are various versions of the story that President Dwight Eisenhower, Ike, met with races of aliens in 1954 and again a year or two later. So, it's hard to, separate the reality from the mythology, and there are different versions of those meetings and with possible deals that he made with them. But let's just go over real briefly. This is from a Twitter thread. Artist renditions of the alleged beings that landed at Holloman Air Force Base, and it says 1964, but I think they mean 54. If these drawings are accurate, I think this, yeah. Okay, here we go. Here is what they are said to have looked like, or this one particular race of being. Yeah, notice the slitted pupils, and that's and also this snake motif. That's going to come into play later. So yeah, very interesting. Just reading through some of the comments. Are they drawings based on which descriptions? They look like Egyptians, not Nordics. Different landing. From what I gathered, this specific story gets confused with the first Eisenhower meeting with aliens. First Eisenhower meeting took place in 1954 at Edwards Air Force Base, and the second meeting took place in 1955 at Holloman Air Force Base. It's very confusing. Yes, well, it's also confusing because there's different versions of the story. In some versions of the story, he met with 3 alien races, and he came to make deals with 2 of them. One of them are supposedly the Greys. Another one that he didn't make a deal with was a more enlightened, advanced, benevolent race. And they wanted humans, and they wanted Eisenhower to stop using nuclear weapons and testing nuclear weapons. And in exchange, they would help humanity evolve and give us technology and all that kind of good stuff. But Eisenhower refused. At least that's one version of the story. And if that's true, it's kind of hard to blame him. I mean, would you trust aliens that wanted us to disarm, to make us more vulnerable? It would be a natural thing to refuse to do that. But okay, so we've got the aliens, the beings with the slit eyes and the snake motif. So let's just go over here to a different Twitter thread. December 3rd, 1967 in Ashland, Nebraska, at 2:20, police officer Herbert Shermer sees a UFO beside Highway 63. UFO took off and he experienced missing time and made an official incident report at the police station. He noticed a red welt on his neck and became very ill. Months passed and word got out. Herbert was contacted by the Condon Commission. On February 13th, 1968, after being interrogated, he was asked to go under hypnosis. During his hypnosis session, Herbert claims he was taken inside the UFO. He says that the aliens inside looked humanoid with slit eyes and had a winged serpent logo on their suits. The beings told Herbert that they abduct select people because they want humans to believe in them and talk about their abduction experiences. Okay, well, I call BS on that. I mean, they wiped his mind. He had to have this memory recovered under hypnosis. So if they were abducting people to, let them know about aliens, why would they wipe their mind? This is, one more example in my mind of the aliens lying to people which they traditionally do. So, it makes sense that if you're abducting somebody, you're going to tell them, well, it's for benevolent reasons, just to calm them down. And then, of course, you wipe their mind because that's not what you really want. But, so they look humanoid with slit eyes. Yeah, slit eyes, and notice the serpent motif. Continue that the beings told Herbert they abduct humans because they want humans to believe in them and talk about their abduction experiences to help humans be prepared for invasion on the consciousness, meaning a complete showing of what they really are. The UFO case became so famous that in 2011 a comic book was made based on Herbert's story. In 2019, a beer was released called Star Snake Dank IPA. Source and more details that I didn't include. And here we go. The most mysterious sketch was of the propulsion unit. Shermer was told that this worked on a principle of reversible electromagnetism. Shown is a series of wire-connected canisters surrounding a glowing cone in the center. The triangular objects appeared to be computers. The spaceman appeared to be 4.5 to 5 feet tall. He was close-fitting hooded. He wore close-fitting hooded silver gray uniform, black boots, belt, and gloves. The man's proportions were normal. Looking down, the eye would normally see a picture of a person with a large head and small feet, but the conscious mind compensates for this perspective problem. Okay, now it's interesting that the beings that Eisenhower, was said to have interacted with, have these big hooked noses and very distinctive earrings and stuff, which is different from what we get with this case in the 60s with the police officer. However, they are very similar. They are still very similar. And to get a little more information, we can watch this video.
It got national attention to begin with. It was printed in newspapers, the National Enquirer, throughout the United States.
The story comes from an Ashland cop, Herbert Shermer, who said back in 1967 that aliens stopped in his town and brought him on board their ship.
I came across this story of this alien encounter in Ashland, Nebraska. Started doing my research on it. A ton of stuff came up. One of the things that were really unique about it was that this guy from LA made a comic book about it in 2011.
The guy from LA is Michael Jasorka, a self-published comic book author and storyboard artist who took Shermer's verbal account and made it into a 50-page comic book. Jasorka doesn't think of it as some fairy tale either. He was drawn into the story because of Shermer's credibility as a cop.
The facts that he brings across in this storytelling are beyond a creative mind. They're too detailed, let's say.
Local UFO experts Paul Breckenridge and John Booter told Jasorka what they know about the case. They say one reason they believe it to be true is others across the country told police of very similar circumstances.
The extraterrestrials were absolutely identical, and these were reported in police reports, not just a person coming forward and saying, it happened to me. These were investigated by the local law enforcement.
Whether it happened or not, the story is now in a revival. That's because Nebraska-based Kincaid Brewery.
Okay, then they made a beer about it. As you do with alien encounters, why not, right? So a really interesting case, and that is something that you see in early alien abduction experiences, is this idea of the Space Brothers. They're here to, for benevolent reasons, and they take people on tours of the solar system. I'm thinking of like George Adamski and those similar sort of cases where you have these very humanoid looking aliens that just, are hanging out and helping humanity evolve. So are these the beings that President Eisenhower met with, or at least one of the alien races that he was said to have met with? And did he meet with aliens at all? Well, I've seen, a pretty good amount of evidence so far that yes, he did meet with the beings. There's even some video that you can find of one of the UFOs setting down. It's only like 8 seconds long, but you can see the UFO that is apparently legit footage of this craft descending from the skies. And there's apparently much longer footage available that was seized, of course, by the government, but they did let somebody use this 8 seconds in a movie about the incident, the documentary. So anyway, so I do believe that President Eisenhower did meet with some beings. I don't know how many races he met with or how many encounters there were. There's 2 different Air Force bases that are said to be involved in different years. But when the government decides to tell us more, we will learn more, or if more whistleblowers come forward that have stories that align with each other, because that's the problem we're getting, is that there are competing stories and different versions of the tale. But yeah, I do believe that President Eisenhower met with the beings that may or may not have been the same beings encountered by the police officer in the 60s. But I believe that both encounters actually happened, and they have startlingly similar beings involved. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss a single video. Please join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And please, if you enjoy these videos, please consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. See the first line in the description below, and there's 2 tiers of membership to receive exclusive access in videos. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road.